All right, so this morning I'm gonna talk about some of the scams that are out there, some of the problems that we've seen in law enforcement here locally and nationally as well. There are literally hundreds of scams and fraud opportunities out there, so I'm just gonna touch base on a few of them, give you some insight and highlights as to maybe help prevent yourself or others, if you share this information with others, from being victims of these scam and opportunities that are out there. One, the Social Security Administration scam, we'll talk about that. A lot of them start with robocalls, grandchild in a crash or in jail. We've had several events that have happened. Your car has been located full of drugs. We've had a few of them pop up now in Rochester. Computer virus pop-ups. Several victims here in the Rochester area have had that as well. Check cashing scams, IRS scams, internet sales, online social media scams, emails from administrators of where you work. We've had that happen here several times in Rochester. And of course, the COVID-19 scam, because as each new thing arises in our country, so does the next scam opportunity. And people have taken advantage of that, along with stimulus checks as well. So why are people doing this? Why are people out there scamming? Why are they calling you? Why are they reaching out to you or hitting you up on the internet? Because it's profitable. And it works. You're absolutely right. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars fall into these opportunists' hands, these suspects' hands, year after year. And that means millions of your friends and neighbors fall victim to this as well and lose their savings, their retirement, a great amount of their income in some certain circumstances. Looking for love that never arrives. Basically, online dating scams cost over $300 million this past year. So a lot of money is lost, ladies and gentlemen. So be careful. Why do they work? These people do research. They do their homework. They've got nothing better to do. They've got nothing but time. So they're out there, they're getting information on you. They're on the dark web, and they're out there getting on these sites. They're getting your name. They're cruising through obituaries. They're looking at names of friends, relatives, stuff like that, family members, to make these scams work. They'll make threats. They'll threaten to have somebody arrest you. So they play on your emotions and timing, because they're going to want you to act quick. They're going to say, you know what, if you don't do this, you don't do it now, law enforcement will be at the door. They're going to arrest you. We're going to issue a warrant for your arrest. They're convincing. These people are really good. They are salespeople in the criminal element, in the criminal world. They're really smooth. They're very convincing. And even though you might have a doubt, you're like thinking, doggone, this sounds really good. They're saying a lot of things that really kind of make sense to me. And people take the bait and they fall victim to it. They're going to talk really fast because they don't want you to pick up on what they're saying. And they're going to try to make you think it's a legitimate phone call. We were just talking before the presentation started with people as far as where these numbers originate from. A lot of them now, like in the Rochester area, you're getting calls from a 507 area code. Some of these scammers that purport to be from like the FBI or the government are using the area code of Washington, D.C. That's coming up on your phone. They've spoofed them. There's spoofed things out there, and people are using these to call you. You can get something that looks like you're getting a phone call from the Rochester Police Department or Rochester Public Utilities or from the IRS, but the person on the other end of that phone is not somebody that represents them. So just be aware of that. Again, the Social Security Administration will not call you. They'll send you a letter. They'll send correspondence out. So if you get a call from it or you get a voicemail from them, I've had both personally. I've had a call from somebody purporting to be from there, and I've also had voicemails left on my phone saying they're from the Social Security Administration. I have an example of one of the robocalls that was left for the Social Security Administration that I'll play for you now.
We're not going to see it. We'll just hear it because the sound system is on the fritz.
Yeah, we'll get your audio or your visual back in just a minute.
I need you to get back to me on my department division enforcement agencies to suspend your social security number on an immediate basis, as we have received suspicious trails of information in your name. The moment you receive this message, I need you to get back to me on my department division toll-free number, that is 1-888-952-5554. I repeat, 1-888-952-5554. Verify the last four digits of your social security number when you call to better assist you with this issue. Now, if I don't hear a call from you, we will have to issue an arrest warrant under your name and get you arrested. So get back to me as soon as possible. Thank you.
And I'm laughing a little bit because if you listen to exactly how they're saying it, that it's not how somebody would normally would, of course, speak. It's a robocall, but then the way they're putting their sentence together is a little different. So that should be kind of a clue and a red flag to everybody too. We will make you arrested. I'm gonna pause this for a second until we get the video up and running for our folks at home, and then be back with you. Okay, thank you. Child or grandchild in jail. People will you'll get a phone call and they'll purport to be, a lot of times it's like a grandchild that's calling grandma or grandpa. Hey grandma, hey grandpa, this is Leo. I'm in jail. Don't, I was in a car accident. I'm in jail. Don't tell mom and dad, but I need money. I need to get bailed out. I'm gonna put you in touch. I've got a lawyer here who's gonna talk to you and give you the instructions as to how to get me out of jail. And you'll get it and you'll be like, oh geez, because it'll actually be the real name of the grandchild. And again, this is why I say these people are doing homework, they're doing their research. So they're reading obituaries, they're looking at who's the surviving grandchildren, this and that, and the names, and then they're looking at these public databases and searches that are putting all this stuff together. It's amazing how much stuff is out there online. If you Google yourself or whatever, do an internet search of yourself, it's amazing what kind of information is really out there if you get digging and looking through just various pages. So they get this information. It is the real name of your grandchild. And they'll put 2 or 3 different people on the phone saying that, they're an attorney or they're with a law enforcement agency, and this is where they need to wire the money. Or this is where you need to get a gift card and scratch off the code and give it to them so they can bail their grandchild out. It's all a scam. It's all a fraud. So don't fall victim of it. I'll give you some ideas. They're going to be convincing. They're going to play on your emotions. They're going to want you to get out of jail now because they might be in prison for years if you don't act right now. And so you're going to be like, oh, geez, what do I do? So what you should do, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm sorry. Call, say, look, you know what? I'm going to call somebody. I just need to verify this quick. I would say 9 times out of 10, we're not going to call you. If somebody's arrested, they're going to get a phone call and they'll have an opportunity to contact you. But any legitimate government organization, jail, or anything like that is going to have a callback number for you to call back. So to say, look, I'll call you back, or if somebody else in your household has a phone, make a call. Call that kid's parent, aunt, uncle, sibling, spouse, whoever this is, call somebody. Hey, do you know where so-and-so is? Well, yeah, he's at home, or he just walked in about an hour ago, or, I saw him 2 hours ago. We went out to eat with his, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is, and verify that. Hang up on them. Don't deal with them. Have some kind of question that you could ask your grandchild, or something like that. Hey, how's your dog doing? You said you were going to go to the vet last week and get him, checked out. Well, your grandchild doesn't have a dog. Ask that question, and if it's a suspect, they're going to go, oh yeah, he's doing great. Because your grandchild, they're going to say, grandpa, I don't have a dog. What are you talking about? And you're like, ding, ding, there's your clue. Did you have a question, ma'am?
No, but I got one of those calls one day from my friends. And when I answered it, so when they said, oh, this is the grandson I'm using. And I said, oh, and I hope they're having a great.
And hang up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They have my too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and that's a perfect way to handle it. Just hang up on them. You don't have to get into any verbal debate, no argument, just simply hang up and do no more business with them. With this scam, like I said, I have noted here in 2017 when they compiled statistics on this one, over $300 million, taken, people wiring money, people, sending the gift cards to these places. Because again, they're well-intended, but these people are just totally taking advantage of you. Love you, but can't visit you. This is like these dating sites that people go on. And there's a lot of people that do legitimate things on dating sites, and there's some relationships that do work out as a result of it. I'm sure some people in here probably have success stories from it. But there are also people out there taking advantage of people. And I say equal opportunists. This has happened to males. This has happened to females. This has happened to older people, and it's happened to younger people. It's across the board. So beware if you're out there, especially, I have an example. Stuck in Ohio is a case that we had in Rochester. This gentleman had developed an online relationship with a female, and she said she was from overseas and she was going to come here to visit him. She says she's in, so he starts sending her money, kind of buying into these stories. I don't have enough money for plane ticket right now, this, that, and the other thing. So send money, $1,000 here, $1,000 there. All of a sudden, okay, now she gets in Ohio. She's at the airport. It's almost like that Tom Hanks movie where he's living in the airport. Well, she's kind of purporting the same sort of thing. I'm living in the airport. I need more money. Now I need, $500 for a visa. Oh, now I need $1,000 for the consulate. Now and it went on and on. I mean, this went on for about a year. She purported to be in this airport, and we had contact with this individual. Like, sir, she is not real. She does not exist. This person is, taking you. And it took us, months of convincing before we finally convinced this gentleman that, she didn't exist. And we were able, to at least stop the activity and the funds, getting depleted from his account. But they will convince you. They will come up with, stories and themes and every excuse not to see you in person. So please be aware of that. Working overseas. Yeah, I'm working overseas. I'm a contractor. I can't get back because, I brought my child over here with me, and now they need a kidney transplant, and they can't fly on a plane. Can you send me money, kind of thing? And then it'll be another event and another event. If people keep making up events and stories as to why they can't come see you in person, they probably don't exist. So really be careful. You use these clues. Think about this. If you can't see these people or meet them, be wary. Maybe like I put down here as a pointer. Maybe if you know where they're at, or where they say they're at, tell them to go out and take a selfie in front of some landmark at where they're at. Do some research on the city that they say they're in, and say, hey, go over to such and such a fountain or such and such a park and take a picture by the carousel or by this bluff or where everybody goes, and see if they'll send that to you. Kind of put them on a little test to see if you think they could be a real person. Computer issues, computer tech support issues. I've had this happen as well to myself, both on my phone and online. You're sitting there, you're researching, doing your email, or you're just searching whatever on the internet, and all of a sudden you get the little pop-up down there saying, oh, you got this virus alert scam. Click here now and we'll help you. Don't ever click on that. That's a big no-no. Don't touch it, because if you do, there's a great chance that someone's gonna take over your computer. You're gonna give them, basically, it's a hyperlink to a domain that's gonna let them access your computer, and then they're gonna lock it up further on you. And then they're gonna contact you, set up, drop a chat box, or contact you by phone and say, hey, or give you a phone number to call them and say, hey, I can help you out, but it's gonna cost you $400. Give me your credit card number. You do that, and all of a sudden, oh, now I need another $600. And it goes on, and they're gonna take you for what they can take you for, and then be on their way to the next victim. If you allow them into your computer and you have certain passwords or accounts and stuff like that up that they have access to, I mean, they can get all that information, and then they can start working behind the scenes to drain your accounts. So just be careful with those pop-ups. Basically, if one of them pops up and you do accidentally click on it, turn your computer off, unplug it right away, and I'd recommend taking it to somebody. Take it to some computer professional that you trust, and have them look at it. Have them make sure your computer's okay before you do it. It might cost you $60 to $100, but my opinion, that's money well spent, versus all of a sudden waking up one morning and finding that you're $5,000 less in your account and one of your accounts at your bank. Because that's not a good thing to wake to. Again, millions of dollars that this has got, cost people. $21 million for the computer hacks this last year. Use antivirusware, use malware protection on your computer, firewalls, keep them on. If you don't know how to do some of this stuff, ask a friend, have somebody come over and help you get this set up on your computers. Personal routers. If you have a router at your house, your own Wi-Fi network, please have a password, have it password encrypted. Don't just leave it open, because it's complicated every time you have a new device and you want to type in a passcode, or somebody comes over and you want to give that to them. That's all fine, but know if you don't protect your router, somebody could be pulling up in your driveway, parking out on the street, and using your internet. They could be using your internet to hack into your computer, or they could be using your internet for unlawful things. They could be trying to solicit kids. They could be looking at, porn or something like that. And all of a sudden we're going, wow, why is this coming from your house? Then all of a sudden we're knocking on your door going, what's going on? So just password protect yourself. So put a password on your routers. When you get these updates on your phone and on your computer, install them. If you have a Dell computer and you get a Dell software update, that's one of my work computers. So I'm using Dell as an example. I get that, almost weekly. Update your software. That keeps, because these people behind the scenes are looking at the latest scams and they're trying to send out protective things for you to keep you protected. So do that on your phone as well. I know sometimes it's frustrating. I almost cringe every time you get those software updates for your cell phone, because something's going to change. The look of your phone is going to change, or something is going to change in the appearance the next time you go to use it. But please do it, because that little inconvenience is definitely worth what it kind of prevents. Watch what you download. If you're doing purchasing, you're doing shopping and stuff like that, find a reputable site. Be really careful of some of these sites, or these just kind of random things. Be wary of it. Look at reviews. See what's out there. Have only 3-4 people bought from this place, or have 700 to 12,000 people bought from this place and given it good marks. Look for this stuff to see if it's legitimate or not. Can you cash my check? If somebody you hardly know, somebody just moves in, or somebody kind of befriends you, and all of a sudden they're giving you a check, hey, can you run this down to your bank and cash it? Because I don't have my ID. I lost my ID, this, that, or the other thing. Start taking a moment to go, don't know this person this well. They're an adult. Why are they asking me to cash their check? I don't know. Like at the bank I go to, the financial institution I go to, I have my DL scanned and it's on file. So anytime I go to do anything there, all they got to do is just, click on my account and my driver's license pops up, so they know if it's me or not. So even if I lost my ID, I'm guessing I would be able to do my banking transactions. What we have had happen is people have done this. We've had college students. It happens to college students a lot. And it's happened to adults as well. Somebody comes up to them, they befriend them, new person at school. Hey, I got a check for $1,500, $4,000. Can you go cash this for me? Because the same thing, lost my ID, this, that, or the other thing. Okay, sure. Mobile deposit, go to the bank, deposit it, whatever, withdraw the cash, give them, say, $1,500. They say, oh, I'll keep $100 for your trouble. Oh, thanks. That was really nice of you. The $100 in my pocket. 1 week later, guess what happens? Ring, ring. Hello. Hey, this is your bank. You owe us $1,500 because that check was fraudulent. It was counterfeit. The account doesn't exist. It's no good. And you're on the hook for it. You're the one that cashed it. So be wary. Be aware of that. I don't have that kind of money to give away, and I imagine you guys don't as well. It's so be really careful of that. We've actually had it happen where some people, because this happens, I gave a $1,500 example, but some people have done this for like $10,000, $15,000, cash these checks. Well, for some people, this depletes their whole savings account. This is huge. These are catastrophic losses. So please be careful, and tell your friends to be careful. The IRS scam. Again, the IRS is not going to call you. They're going to send you a letter. And if there's a problem, if they want to, they need additional information, if you owe back taxes, or they need clarifying information for the taxes you filed, you will get a letter from the IRS in the mail. You will not get a phone call. So any phone calls that come in purporting to be from the IRS, hang up. Just be done with it. I'm going to just show one quick video that kind of just from the IRS here to kind of give you a little bit of a heads up for those of you at home. You'll probably just hear it. Hang on.
Scam artists are pretending to be IRS officials to get your money. They'll call, email, or text you, claiming you owe back taxes, or there's a problem with your tax return. They even bring caller ID to make it all look official. They play on your fears. They threaten to take your driver's license, or sue, arrest, or deport you. They want you to pay fast. What's the truth? The truth is, the IRS's first contact with you will always be a letter in the mail. It's not a phone call, email, or text message. They won't insist that you pay with a prepaid debit card, wire transfer, or cashier's check. Now you know. Has an IRS imposter contacted you? Report it at ftc.gov/imposters.
Again, I'll be by mail. Anything else, just forget it. Internet jobs, especially now, some people losing their job, being laid off. It might be kind of tempting if you get an offer online or from somebody that reaches out to you on the internet saying, hey, will you do this? You know what, for such and such a money, we'll pay you for it. Be really, really weary of it. Some of these internet jobs might be, hey, we're going to ship you something, and then I want you to take it out of that package, put it in another package, and reship it to a different address. And you're going to see these different names and different locations sent on it. And think to yourself, you got to be thinking to yourself, why? Why would somebody want me to take something out of a package that's been shipped, repackage it, ship it somewhere else? Why wouldn't you just ship it to that person to begin with, kind of a thing? And why do I need to change it? So there's a clue. Don't do that, because what they're having you do is you're kind of like a mule in almost like a Ponzi type scheme. They're constantly buying things with stolen money, and they just keep floating it to avoid detection. So they're sending it to you, you're reshipping it to somebody else, and then they're reshipping it to somebody else before they finally sell it and cash it out, kind of a thing. And so they're trying to leave an undetectable trail, basically a trail of unknowing people. And some people are getting paid. Some people do get paid, a couple $100 for their troubles for doing this. And there's other people that get kind of roped into another type of a scam where they look to say they're going to pay you, they overpay you. So they said they were going to give you $500 for your work this week. They all of a sudden they put $1,500. They send you a check for $1,500 or send you a direct deposit for $1,500 if you set this up with them. And they're like, oh shoot, I'm sorry, we overpaid you. Can you go to your bank, get a money order for $1,000 and send it back to me? Oh yeah, okay, because it looks like $1,500 is in there. You go ahead, you go to your bank, you get your money order, or cashier's check, send it to this person. Well, you've just sent them some legitimate currency to now use to, again, find out a few days later that money's disappeared, it's gone, or it's fraudulent, and you're out those funds. So be really, really careful. Any employer, absent some random anomaly, is going to be pretty on the pretty on the mark when they send you your paychecks. You're going to be you're getting right down to the penny what you're entitled to. And no more, and they won't be asking you to do anything like that. So that's a scam. If you're selling something online, if you use any of these marketplaces to sell things, Facebook for sale, Craigslist, something like that, this is a place where people will prey on you as well. If you're selling a car, kind of like I just mentioned just a few minutes ago, if you're selling a car for $3,500 and somebody offers you $6,000 for it, well, because I'm going to ship it overseas to my client, so I'm going to send you a money order for $6,000. The same thing again. You go there and you work on the transporter. Some transporter comes up, takes, lines up your car, goes away with it, takes it down the road. A week later, that money is gone. Legitimate people will pay you generally not a penny more than what you're asking for your vehicle. In fact, they'll probably try to negotiate you down. They're not going to give you more. So if anybody's offering you more than what you're selling something for online, don't do business with them. Just X out. Don't communicate with them. Report them. Some of these marketplaces have reporting sites. You can put potential scam or fraud. Go ahead and click that, submit that, and send that out there. Lower interest rates. These people are going to help you get a lower interest rate. They're going to help you get out of debt. Well, by charging you a fee, and then by charging you another fee, and then by getting your account information, you've opened up the door for them to, take money out of your account. Don't fall for this. Don't do that. If you need help with that, talk to one of your, investment personnel or some member of your bank or financial institution. Communicate with them. Express, what problems you're having, and have them help you through it. Don't take one of these people that you're getting a phone call from that are cold calling you. Don't trust that they're going to have your best interest at heart. They have their pocketbook at heart. They don't have your best interest at heart. So please don't fall for them or give them any personal information. Bottom line is, hang up. You are not obligated to talk to anybody that calls you like that. a recent call from the FBI. Person in Rochester actually got a call in the middle of the day. I think it was about 2 p.m. She gets a call. They say, hey, your vehicle was found. I believe this is the one that, yeah, your vehicle was found in Texas. And there was blood in it, and it's related to a homicide. We need you to send us this money to make this go away. Well, what legitimate law enforcement organization is going to say that to begin with? But they had her on the phone literally for hours, passing her from person to person, having her go to different places to get different money orders and transfers to send to them, scratching off the backs of numbers, giving them the numbers or all these accounts. You know, and it wasn't until later in the day she finally realized, I can't remember at what mark it was. What was that, 6,000? But she was instructed to draw $20,000 in at Walmart, ship it there, where she finally said, this doesn't feel right. This is no good. And then she put the brakes on it. But at that point, she had already lost several thousands of dollars to this, you know, online suspect that took her money. Again, law enforcement agencies, get a callback number. Ask them, hey, can I call you back? And then you look up that number for that law enforcement agency. Don't go by the number they gave you, because if I'm any suspect or shyster worth my salt, I'm going to give you a fake number. I'm going to give you a number to my friend who's sitting right alongside of me. So look it up. Look up the number for Houston, Texas Police Department, Rochester Police Department. Call them. Say, hey, I was just talking to Officer so-and-so or Agent so-and-so, Detective so-and-so. Can I speak to them, please? No. Well, that person doesn't, you know, Sergeant Strop doesn't work here, you know, kind of a thing, or whatever the case is, or maybe you'll find out, oh yeah, yep, just a minute, you know, patch you through and it's legit. So do your homework on that. Follow up. I've actually had some people here in town when I followed up on investigations that did not believe who I was, and that's okay. You know, and what I'll do is I'll give them our number to dispatch, tell them who I am, and have them ask for me. I said, go ahead. When I'll hang up the phone with you, go ahead and give them a call and ask. You know, and they'll transfer you. And that's what they did. And then we had then we continued on with the investigation. But, you know, some people are skittish to that, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not offended by it. I don't think too many other law enforcement officers would ever be offended by that. So please, when in doubt, just ask. Say, I'll call you back. Let me do some homework and call you back, and we get it. I'd rather have you do that than fall victim to some scam. I don't want to see you guys lose thousands of dollars. We had a thing here in Rochester a while ago that people were preying on a lot of small businesses here in town, reporting to be from Rochester Public Utilities. They were using a spoof number. They were calling generally during a busy time, you know, right around that 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock mark when everybody's kind of ramping up like for dinner. And they were asking for payment. We need payment because you didn't pay, you know, electrical bill last month. And we need, so we hear again, we need gift cards. Well, Rochester Public Utilities doesn't accept gift cards as payment. But that's what these people are asking right away. They wanted gift cards for payment, or they're forced to shut the electricity down. Well, these people are frantic, you know, you got your evening rush coming. So they ran out and they did it, and they were, you know, buying and losing thousands of dollars for these, informing these scams for that. You've hit the jackpot. Have you received those emails or those texts? I've actually received a couple of those where it says, you know, congratulations, you know, you've won this kind of lottery, or you've inherited this sum of money. Please contact us. Well, you're going to contact them. Then they're going to want your social security number. They're going to want you to send right away, probably $5,000, $6,000 just to kind of get the paperwork rolling. Well, then all of a sudden $5,000, $6,000 rolls into more, $10,000. And then, oh, yep, we're sorry you're not getting it back. You send us another $5,000. You know what? We're going to get this. We're going to resolve this, and it'll all be done. Oh, okay. Oh, thank goodness. 5,000 more. Boom. Now you're in the hole, another $5,000. Oh, yep. And it keeps going. It literally keeps going. This happened to a gentleman in town. I worked with him, and it went to the tune, and this went on for several months. A family member of his called me and said, hey, can you go over to my dad's house? I think he's being scammed. And I went over there, sat down, talked with him, looked at the emails, looked at the transactions that had taken place, and he was getting scammed. He was getting, you know, just taken for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And finally put a stop to it. You know, called him. Then I followed up with his son, you know, after I was done talking to him, and to stop it. But I mean, months have gone by of just leading him on the line. You know, I mean, they sound convincing. They act like they want to help you, but they don't want to help you. In the end, they want your money. They want the bottom line. So be careful. Friends and acquaintances sending messages over Facebook. I've actually had this too. Hey, I'm on vacation. We're stuck down here. We were robbed. Wife lost her purse. Can you help us out? We have no way back. Send money now, kind of a thing. Can you send us money? Well, it's a scam. People access and hijack Facebook sites, email sites, and they put that out there. And again, as soon as you send that money, it's all a fraud, and you lose that money. So please don't do that. If you see something like that pop up on one of those things, find out. Make some calls to friends, neighbors. Are they on vacation? Call a friend or family member of them, and well, no, they're here. They didn't go on vacation. Figure all that out. Emails from bosses or administrators. We've had these kind of scams come out where we had it as recently as I think 6-7 months ago here in town. Again, we've had a few of them take place. Basically, what it is you'll be at your desk, you'll be working, you'll get an email from boss or somebody higher up in the company saying, hey, can you send a wiregram to yada yada. Seems like a place that we've done business with before. Not a totally unusual request. Probably in your business, in your role, you do that. You'll send money from time to time at request of the boss. They've done that just to find out that there's just a couple digits off in that email. And so the money they wired, like one of the cases, I think it was over $50,000 was sent somewhere. It went to a place out in California, and money was never recovered or retrieved. It's just sad. So look at that, double check. Don't hit reply to those emails. What I would ask you to do is you send a new email to that person, your boss, whoever they are, just type a new email. Hey, just double check it. You said wire such and such and such and such to, this, that, or the other. And they'll say, yep, I asked you to do that. Okay, I'm just confirming. Great. Or they'll go, what? I never sent that. And that'd be the case. You've just saved your company, thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of time trying to recoup and recover from that loss. So be wary of that before you send anything. COVID-19 scams. Some of these have gone on. They're probably starting to fall a little by the wayside, but a lot of people are going out there again. They're contacting you. They're putting up sites. Hey, we have a miracle cure. Use this. This is before some of these vaccinations became more prevalent. We can get you further up online. We can get you a shot faster. For those that weren't eligible yet, you give us, $500, we'll get you in there. We'll get you a shot. Well, no, these people are just taking your money. They're not legitimate. You're not going to get that. How the virus affects your student loan. Some of these kids are getting emails saying, hey, reach out to us. We'll work on getting your student loan resolved because of the Corona pandemic. Send me $500 and I'll help eradicate your $20,000 student debt. Well, again, illegitimate. These people are all taking advantage of you. They're opportunists. So be careful. Do your homework on all this stuff. Pay attention to what you're seeing out there. What is what are the updates you're getting from your local media outlets saying this is what the government is saying. Who's next up for a shot? This is where you go for a shot. Follow that so you know where you're at. Stimulus payments, again, be wary. They're going to come. The government's going to send them out in the form of a direct deposit or the check, the government check. They're not going to wire anything. They're not going to ask you to wire money to get your stimulus check. So if somebody's saying, hey, you need to wire the IRS $500 to get your stimulus check. No, it's not the way it works. You're just going to get your stimulus check if you're entitled to it. Need to get away, need a place to live. You go on vacation. Some people stay at hotels. Some people do these rental places, home away, VRBO, Airbnb, things like that. Make sure you're on their site. It's a legit site. Look at the ratings. Make sure that these properties that you're going to are on the up and up and do actually exist. Because some people have gone on to non-reputable sites. They've seen just kind of posted ads about a house that's for rent. To get there to find out that it's occupied. It's not for rent. And you've already given your deposit. You've already paid for it maybe ahead of time because that's what they're required. And now you're out that money. And and what an awful thing to experience if you're traveling there with your family. And there you all are. You go pull up in your rental car and you're there and you're hoping, now all of a sudden you have to find a place to stay for the next 7 days or 10 days or however long your vacation was. So be careful of these. Look at your sites, do your homework. If you're renting a real house, like say I want to move to Rochester, we've had this happen. People are coming into town to work. Well, they found an online ad, a place, purporting to be for rent. They've sent the money, made the deposit, and all of this over the phone without physically seeing this property, just to find out that this property either didn't exist, it's a bad address, or it was occupied and it was never for rent to begin with. So like I said, be very careful. If you have a kid, sibling, family member that's traveling somewhere, it might be worth an airplane ticket just to go there to make sure that, if it's out of state or a long ways away, to make sure this place does exist and it is legitimate before you put any money down on it. If for whatever reason you fall victim to a crime at all, I have some resources up here, and Beth Schmidt here has put together a whole pile of brochures in the back that also have a lot of these resources listed in it as well. I can make these available to you guys to 125 Alive. So if you need them afterwards, reach out and we'll make these available to you. But just to kind of go over them, if you send money, it gives you these different sites to reach out to. If you paid by a gift card, it kind of gives you an example of where to reach out and who to report it to. If somebody has your personal information, you can go to identitytheft.com. You gave your scammer a password, again, right away, change it, go in, talk to a computer expert, but then change all your passwords. It's not a bad idea to change your passwords on a fairly regular basis anyway. I know it's a pain in the backside, but it's well worth the time to do it because people are running these random codes all the time. And it's just a matter of time before maybe they get lucky and they connect with you. So change them. If they've accessed your phone or computer, again, get a hold of somebody, get a hold of a professional. Oops, getting way ahead of myself here, I'm sorry. All right, so if they access your phone or computer, again, check things, check with your financial institutions, your credit card companies, if they've accessed any of your stuff, if anybody has, to make sure that they haven't gotten further access to any of your credit card information or your banking information that you might have stored in there to protect yourself. Again, if you take nothing away from what I've said, other than a handful of things at the end, again, no government entity is ever going to ask for gift cards or a wire transfer or anything like that. Okay, we're not going to threaten to arrest you and pick you up over the phone. Okay, if we're going to arrest you, we're probably going to be at your front door arresting you. We're not going to be doing that over the phone. Again, just about all of the communication that IRS, Social Security Administration will have is going to come in the form of mail. It's not going to come by a phone call. So if you get a phone call, text message, something on your computer from them, it's not legit. Ignore it, hang up, dismiss it. If you don't recognize the phone number, just don't answer it. If it's a friend, if it's a business, if it's somebody that really needs to get a hold of you, they're going to probably leave you a message. And that's the rule of thumb I live by. Now, once in a while, I answer a phone call during the day, and it's probably somebody trying to sell me a car warranty because apparently mine expired. I hang up. Just hang up, block it. If you have a block feature on your phone, go ahead and do that. Some of your phone companies too, reach out to them. If you don't know how to do block on your phone, just reach out to them and have them help you block those numbers that come in. Not that it's going to prevent all of them because they're going to keep popping up, but at least stop it or hang up on them. Do what you want. Again, use protection for your computers. Antivirus software, malware software, firewalls, keep all that on. Encrypt your routers, require a password for them. On your phones too. If some of you don't have anything, security measures on your phone, please consider doing that. Because if somebody steals your phone, I'd say the majority of people have smartphones nowadays, and think of everything that you have on your smartphone, all these apps, all this information. And if you don't protect your phone by having, a password, a PIN number, fingerprint, or iris retina scanner, you're just giving somebody a green light to your phone to do it. I mean, this way, if you do lose your phone or somebody takes your phone, they probably can't access it. It probably won't be of much use to them. They won't be able to get at your personal information. By the time you realize your phone is missing, you can have everything shut down before they're even going to have a chance to get at it. But if your phone is not protected and somebody takes it, they have access to everything. They could be making all kinds of purchases. They could run your accounts dry before you even realize it. So please protect your phone. Again, when you get some of this information, if you're looking to buy something too, look at the spelling, look at the grammar. You'll see a lot of typo. You'll see a lot of grammatical things that just don't seem to make sense if you read it out loud on some of this information. If it sounds like that, chances are it's a scam. A couple of resources or places to go to get information. IC3.gov. The FTC is a really great resource. Identitytheft.gov is. FTC, like I said, is really good. We had a case where I utilized this here, just a Federal Trade Commission. like Franktown Charles, FTC. We had a bank, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. We had a lender reach out to us. They had a client come in with a letter, basically saying it was a letter from the government. It was a class action lawsuit settlement. Wanted to know if it was legit because they were requiring social security number and personal information on this form. I'm like, God, I had not heard of it. I did some looking on the Federal Trade Commission website. It actually was a legitimate letter. It was part of a class action lawsuit that was settled a couple of years ago from a major wire transfer corporation that was transferring money, but apparently they knew better or shouldn't have been doing what they were doing, and they were sued. And this guy had been an earlier victim of that, and so he was now entitled to funds. And so this was a legitimate form. So I was able to, reach back to that bank and say, hey, it's good. Tell your client it's a good form. It's all good to go. But research and double check. One, if anybody out here works for a financial institution, check, ask on behalf of your members, your clients, work on that. And we'll try to get answers for you. We'll try to work with you with it. Monitor your credit reports. Take advantage of those opportunities to monitor them. Look at them. Make sure nobody's taking out credit cards in your name. Nobody's taking out loans in your name. Keep an eye on that. Some people pay for services to have people do this for them, like these they'll protect your identity. I don't know all the specific ins and outs of how they work. Do your research on some of those companies. If it makes you feel more comfortable, go for it. If not, just do your homework on yourself. Make sure you're protected. For financial institutions, retailers, I would say ask for ID. When people are making these transactions, coming in, making withdrawals, hopefully your institution's asking you for ID. If you don't have your DL scanned or on file, don't be offended if they do ask for ID, because hopefully they're just trying to protect you, making sure that because we've had a number of cases here in town where people go for walks on trails, they go shopping, and they come back to their car, their windows broke out, purse is gone, wallet's gone, and somebody's been spending thousands of dollars while they're out walking their dog, and get back to the car to find out that all of a sudden, oh shoot, somebody just stole my purse and all my credit cards. So my business is asking for ID, banks asking for ID, they're trying to protect you guys. So please don't give anybody a bad time if they do ask you for ID. In fact, most of the time when I travel out of state, I get asked for my ID when I pay credit card at the dinner, where I go out to dinner or something to that effect, or even pay at the hotel. I need your ID too. Great, I'm glad you're asking. So I don't give them a bad time. Please don't give them a bad time for it. Ask questions. Again, if you're in the financial world, and we've had this a few times where we've actually been able to stop a few scams and thefts, because the teller or the bank manager is looking at it and going, this isn't right. George comes in and generally every 3-4 months, and maybe he only takes out a couple $100. Most of the time he's just depositing his retirement check in here. He's got his normal stuff going out, but he doesn't normally take like $6,000 out and ask for a money order for this, that, or the other thing. Ask him, what's coming up, what you getting, what's happening. Ask the questions. They might tell you to go pack sand. They might say it's none of your business, or they might say, oh, my grandson just got arrested, I'm just bailing him out. Or they might say, my fiance who's over in Europe, she can't get over here. She's been trying to come over for weeks, and she says she can't. That should be a flag. Start asking some more questions. Well, have you ever really seen her? Kind of thing like that, and say, just be careful. Are you aware that there's scams out there and people are out doing this kind of thing? Ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Ask that question to try to protect those people that are doing business with you. And look at your policies. If your policies don't say you should ask them anything, maybe you could ask them a few questions. I mean, in my opinion, you're not giving away any protected data by asking a question. Hey, what are you doing with it? You're not asking for any real personal information or any protected information. You're just asking a question, trying to protect them. So maybe change that up if you need to. Maybe explore that. I know I talk fast, and there was a lot of stuff to cover. There's a lot of things out there. Again, at the end of the day, if anything sounds too good to be true, it really probably is. And I'll start taking some questions. If anybody has questions online, go ahead and start chatting them in. And Alex, right?
Yep.
Alex will relay them to me, and then I'll take a couple questions in the room here as well. Yes, sir. It depends on what the crime is. If it's
Would you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry. So the question posed is, what is the penalty for scams? It all depends on what the crime is. Are they taking a couple $100? Are they taking thousands of dollars? Thousands of dollars, like in Minnesota, for example, would be a felony. So it's a higher level crime. If it's a smaller amount, of course, then, like gross misdemeanor, it's like, it's offering a forged check, we might be able to, do that, which is a felony. They have there's different levels, but it all depends on, have they been convicted before, have they been charged before, and then our ability to prove it, build the case and prove the case. Unfortunately, with a lot of these crimes that happen over the internet or over the phone, they're really hard to prove. The solvability factors are really difficult to overcome because it's hard to identify who's typing on that keyboard, who's on the other end of that phone, because they kind of go from one source to another source to another source. These people are really good at hiding themselves. So they'll go through all these different, internet pockets and holes.
So are there any government agencies put the full court press on limiting for the failing this heinous stuff? Because it used to be a kind of prank. That's not prank. I don't care if it's only $100. It's kind of like a little bit of murder, right? When you start talking about they either did it or they didn't. So is there anything afoot or like people looking at this that are on it, trying to catch people and really protect us?
Mhm.
Because most of us are just babes in the woods.
You're absolutely right.
I'm very knowledgeable myself. I'm having had a whole career doing stuff. I think kind of all it does is end up making them mad, very mad.
It absolutely, it's very frustrating.
Zero tolerance ought to be the way this thing is treated.
And I don't disagree with you all, sir.
Zero.
For those of you at home that are listening, to kind of paraphrase the question in the statement, he's asking, is there somebody that kind of oversees all of these kind of at a bigger scale or at a bigger level, these crimes, to try to help prevent and put a stop to them? And the answer, the FBI probably has the biggest, in my opinion, I think has the biggest look, if you will, and grasp and the tools and resources at their, availability to work on these. Because what happens is these are so large scale. They're so much bigger than just Rochester, Minnesota, USA. As soon as you hang up your phone or hit click or send, they're going to the Dominican Republic, they're going to Europe, they're going to Africa, they're going all over the globe. So local resources, it's totally beyond us. But what we do is we share a lot of information, which really helps. We share information with the FBI, we share information with the IRS. We look to the FTC for information and guidance. Then we ask you folks, report it. I mean, even if it's embarrassing, report it to, these web links. The FBI has a link, FTC has links. Report it to your local law enforcement agency as well. Let us know. It's not a promise or guarantee that we're going to be able to hold anybody accountable, but at least if we develop a pattern, we might be able to, reach out to one of our, partners in like the FBI, like we do. I work with our local FBI agents. I share information with them when I get them in on scams to make them aware of it. And sometimes it is part of a bigger picture that they're aware of and they are working on. So let us know. And like I said, when I say report it, even though sometimes we're not able to get them, we actually have had success in intercepting some cash that's been wired or transferred, where people have FedEx cashed. They've been asked to put money in books and then send them or ship them, or they've been asked to ship property to other areas out west or out east. We've been able to actually contact either the carrier, UPS, FedEx, and say, hey, have you made delivery on this yet? Well, no, we haven't. Okay, great. Hold that envelope, turn it into the local law enforcement agency, and or return it back here to Rochester, Minnesota, and we're able to recover it for people. Or we'll get a hold of local law enforcement and they'll get out there about the same time they're making the delivery and recover that package and recover that cash. Like I said, so we've had some success. It doesn't happen all the time, but we have had some success. So I say still report it. Is there a lot of teeth in financial crimes and property crimes? to answer the second part of your question, sometimes no, unfortunately. And I get really frustrated for victims because, you know, we hear your stories, we see what you're going through, we see how this has affected you and what kind of a loss you sustained. But sometimes if these people don't have criminal history points, if it's their first time around, unfortunately, they may not be held as accountable as we'd all like to see them, you know, be held accountable for, or paid, you know, the penalty of the price. So I definitely feel your pain and empathize with you. And I know those of us that work in property crimes a lot, I mean, we are really frustrated. We get so frustrated for the victims whenever we read these reports and we talk to you. It bothers us. Believe me, it bothers us. And we want these people held accountable too. But unfortunately, sadly, we can't always recover the money. There are probably more times than not we can't. But it's not for that. We don't care that we're not trying. Any other questions?
Look at some of the online questions here. Okay, so one user is asking, how do we report scams from United States Postal Service, UPS, etc.?
You can report stuff to them directly. They probably have links on their sites. I know the U.S. Postal Service has their own investigative division, so you can report to them. There are sites that I have on the presentation, like the FTC, the IC3. You can report to them as well because they keep track, they keep a log, and then they disseminate that information to the appropriate agencies that need to deal with it and work on it.
Okay. We do have some more. Is it worthwhile to report to police when I have been approached by a scammer?
That's a good one. That's a tough question. Depends on what the scam is and what it is. If you think it's something kind of, if it's the grandchild in jail kind of thing, or my car is, you know, your car has been recovered and registered to you and it's been recovered out of state and there's going to be a warrant for your arrest if you don't pay this kind, something like that. If you're not giving any money away, you're just hanging up on them. No. If all of a sudden they report to be like Chief Franklin, they say, hey, I'm Chief Franklin and you need to pay me $500 or, you know, you're going to go to jail if you didn't do, you know, if you don't send, you know, wire money to this and that because, you know, for whatever the case is, then bring that to our attention, because if it's somebody local, like they're misrepresenting the local law enforcement officer, we want to know that. We want to get the word out to the community. So we can warn people, you know, and make people aware of it. So I know I didn't completely answer it, but I'd say it depends on the totality of the circumstances and the type of scam it is. If you think it's something that should be shared with others, absolutely contact us. When in doubt, always contact us, but we don't need to be contacted for each and every phone call.
Okay. You have one more. How many fraudsters do ever get caught, stopped, prosecuted, and or punished?
Never enough. Never enough is my answer. There are a few from time to time, and it really varies. Here locally, the local people that steal credit cards, you know, and then use them. Yeah, there's a number of them that are being arrested and, you know, handled in the court systems. The international scammers and frauds, you know, that you're getting that, you know, hey, you need to send me money, you know, to get your grandchild. Fewer, you know, I'd say not a great percentage of people get caught. Some do eventually, but not as many as we'd like. So I would say there are many out there. Yes, ma'am.
Is that list of contacts in?
I believe a lot of them or most of them should be, but if not, I told Robin what I would do is I'd send a copy of my presentation, my links and stuff here. So reach out to 125 Alive, and they can, like I said, because I think Beth did a pretty good job of putting a lot of that stuff all together in those pamphlets. So hopefully you'll get most of the information. You're welcome.
And then the other thing too is this presentation has been recorded. So for those of you at home, you've logged in, so we can send that to you as well. And then also have resources available next time you're here.
All right. Any other questions?
What community groups?
This is the first one I have done. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
You guys are the icebreakers. Yeah, you're welcome. No, I've talked to some financial institutions in the past about like some frauds and robberies, but as far as like scams and stuff, yeah, you guys are the first group, so this is great. Yes, I believe Beth has it. Yeah. Any other questions? Having heard none, seen none, thank you all for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.